So yesterday also the High Court sat in relation to one particular matter that has been pending at the court since 2018, and it was coming from the former Audit Service Board Chairman, Professor Edward Diajiman. In fact, he initiated a contempt action against the current National Chairman of the NDC, Asiedu Nketia. The action was initiated at the time that he was the General Secretary of the party. And the concerns of the plaintiff here is the effect that, look, the Mr. Asiedu Nketia made certain remarks about him on radio, and he felt that, look, these were below the belt, and he defamed him. And so for that matter, he sued him at the court to apologize to him for a retraction of us for general damages in the sum of 20 million Ghana cedis. That case has been pending. I remember initially it was before Justice Stephen Opon, now has been transferred to Justice Audrey Kokuvite, and she's the one handling the matter at this particular point that the parties are appearing and the hearing has started. Yesterday the parties were in court, and when the case was called for further hearing, lawyers of Johnson Asiedu Nketia, popularly known as General Mosquito, came up with an application, and the nature of the application was to the effect that, look, we want to testify, we want to give evidence to what has been said. But along the line, during the pre-trial processes, there was a witness that's a necessary witness in this matter that will come to court and let the court understand what exactly is before the court. And so it was inadvertent that we omitted such witness in our pre-trial processes to indicate to the court. So the court should grant them leave to be able to amend their pre-trial list and then come to court and include this witness, so that when he comes to court, he'll be able to explain things to the judge in the matter for proper appreciation. Yesterday, lawyers of Professor Diajiman did not oppose, except to say that, yes, we'll leave that to the determination of the court, or leave that for the court to determine that. Justice Audrey Kokuvite said, look, the application is granted as prayed. However, a cost of 3,000 Ghana cedis is awarded against Mr. Johnson Asiedu Nketia, and the case has been adjourned to 3rd of April. In fact, a series of dates were taken, but the first one from yesterday will be on the 3rd of April. But Sewa, in the context of things, the legal setting, there's been a lot of confusion as to fine, call, judgment, ruling, and all of that. This morning, I want to share a bit of education on these two. You know that we practice the criminal law here, or criminal section of the law that we do here. And of course, the civil part. In all of that, there are certain terminology that come to the fore that sometimes we confuse ourselves with. So if the director is following, can show us the slide of the fine on the screen so that we go through and all of that. In relation to this very application regarding Johnson Asiedu Nketia and all of that, so as you can see on your screen there, it has to do, it's a civil matter. And so the issue of fine will not arise in this matter of defamation. And the only time that somebody could be fined in relation to matters before the court is when conviction is involved. Somebody commits a crime and the court decides that, look, at this particular point in time, I think that fine is more appropriate to custodial sentence, or the court deciding to jail you, and the alternative punishment is to fine you. But sometimes people are not lucky. You get a fine
and you get the sentence,
a custodial sentence in addition. So when you are talking about a court matter and refer somebody to have been fined, automatically it means that the person has been convicted for a crime, or the person has been found guilty of a crime and it has been punished. Whether the court decides to impose custodial sentence or not is another thing. So you cannot use fine in a civil matter. So in fact, when the court award a cost against somebody, then you say the court the person has been fined. That person can decide to sue you. Let's look at the other slide that talk about the cost involved in when damages and other. So that's also on your screen. So this one primarily, you come to court in the case of what happened yesterday in Johnson Asiedu Nketia's
it was
matter.
a cost
It was
that
a
was
cost
slapped
that was
on Johnson.
And the role that the cost plays is that the other party came to court, they waste resources coming to court. So compensate them with this money.
Okay,
so
I think that in simple terms, right, what Murtala is trying to say, because he's done an extensive education on fines, but when it comes to cost, they sometimes may even be awarded in the course of the litigation.
Absolutely.
And like he said, it's refined to civil cases only. So the issue of cost is mainly under 74 of the Civil Procedure Rules at the High Court. And usually, it can, sometimes actually, it can also serve as a punishment for maybe a display of incompetence or misconduct. And the court is the one that decides how much cost should be slapped. But if you have, it's discretionary, certainly. If you've ever been to the court, for a civil trial, you usually will hear sometimes counsel say that they want costs to be slapped on the other person. Sometimes it's even the lawyer for the party.
Interesting.
Or the person, or even sometimes the clients themselves.
Absolutely. In relation to what happened yesterday, the lawyers of Professor GHOne did not even ask for costs. But in the discretion of the court, he thought that, look, this thing, you shouldn't have omitted or you shouldn't have gotten to that stage.
Certainly.
You should have been well prepared before coming. So in that case, let's compensate them with something. So 3,000 Ghana cedis is involved. And there are moments that the court will say, look, I don't think, no other has to cost. I don't think they say, you guys can settle yourself out in all of that. So it plays out in court and all.
Right. And like you've said it, put it very correctly, that's per Order 74, Rule 2, and around that area. It's the award of costs is generally to compensate a successful party. Compensation, that's the key word there.
Absolutely.
So if we're in court together over a matter and you decide to waste everybody's time, the judge has the discretion to compensate me by awarding that cost. So like he has said, let's not try to mix the two. Yes. I know that English-wise, you would think that it's a fine.
It reminds you that...
But legally...
Those days when you fail to go for a communal labor, then they will assemble you, then they will fine you. That is different from the court fine that we are talking about.
Certainly.
When traditional leaders summon you before the palace and you go, then they fine you to bring 2 schnapps and then all of that. It is different from the fine that we are talking here. In court terms, in legal terms, if you impose a fine on somebody or you say somebody has been fined, be careful, because if the person has not been fined, the chances are that you are telling me that I've been convicted for an offense. So you have to show me the offense that I've been convicted for. But if it's cost, let's maintain cost. If it's fine, let's be clear with that.
Thank you very much, Murtala, for that education. What more do you have for us, very quickly? Yesterday,
also, one case that also came to the fore was the case involving the former Second Lady Matilda Emisa Arthur. What happened was to the effect that Yahuza Usmanu has been arrested and charged for 24 counts, 20 counts of stealing and 4 counts of dishonestly receiving. The matter is still before the court. Yesterday, case management conference was held, and the case has been adjourned to March 3 by Justice Kizita Nakowakwashi for a firm date to be fixed for the trial to begin and all of that. So these are the things that we have for you this morning as far as court today is concerned. We'll be telling you about another case in which a businessman went to court, sued the immigration service for unlawfully stopping him from traveling outside the country, and the court has entered a judgment against this state. So we'll tell you more in the on newsroom. And
thank you very much. Thank you so much. Murtala Inusah is our court correspondent, and that'll be it for court today.